Hey gamers, Stogie here, and today I'm bringing you guys a tip video on how to use the main battle tanks in Battlefield 4. What you guys are going to be watching today is a gameplay video from Battlefield 4 on the PlayStation 4. And what I'm hoping to do today is take you guys from wherever your knowledge is at today with the main battle tanks and bring you up a notch and just give you some strategy for what I think is best for certain situations in Battlefield 4 when approaching the tank. And I gotta say, I stayed away from the tanks quite a bit in the beginning of this game, actually all vehicles in general. I was mostly a foot soldier. It's kind of what I enjoy, but when the Phantom Prospect dog tag came up, I said, man, I gotta get that thing. That's gonna be something special. So I had to get 200 tank kills to achieve that, and I actually ended up getting those tank kills pretty quickly. This is one of the first games I actually used the tank, maybe the second time I've tried using the tank in this game, and I go on a 15 kill streak right at the beginning of this game. You're gonna see me in this using the AP shell, and I'm using the guided shell. So the guided shell is kind of the secondary weapon of the tank, and it locks onto land vehicles or air vehicles that are lased, and it's okay. You'll see me use it here. It's not what I would recommend. You're going to be seeing my recommended loadout later on in this video, but you can see it's okay. It gets a hit on a tank here or there. It takes a long time to regenerate, and you only get 2 shots. And while I'm talking about generation, look at the bottom right there on the screen. See where it says 0/1 and you got that bar counting up? As that bar moves from right to left and it gets filled, that gives you an extra shot in reserve, and then there's also a cycle time for each shot. So say when I'm using the AP shell, it's got a different cycle time than say when I'm using the guided shell. So there's all types of balancing things that you have to be aware of when operating the tank. So the 3 primary shells are the AP shell, the HE shell, and the Sabat shell. Later in this video, you're going to see me using the Sabat shell, and basically, from everything I can tell, the damage is pretty much the same as this shell, except the Sabat shell has like no drop to it over medium range. It's pretty awesome. So right here, you see me using the Sabat shell, and you see me encountering the most dipshit helicopter pilot you're ever going to see in the game. This guy has no clue what he's doing. You just do not fly choppers at tanks like that, or shit like that happens. Now this chopper right here, he's not that bad, but I pull off a pretty nice shot on him and take him down. And within another couple seconds, or less than a minute, you're going to see me take out another chopper. This was a pretty awesome start to this game. I took out 3 choppers. So here you see me using the Sabat shell, and you're going to see it's a lot better for hitting targets at longer ranges and hitting aerial targets because the shell drop is just not there. And my secondary weapon there you're going to see is the staff shell. That's turned out to be my favorite go-to primary and secondary weapon setup. So the Sabat shell for primary and the staff shell for secondary, and I'll elaborate on that. A lot of people use the LMGs or the HMG, yeah, I believe it is, the heavy machine gun and the light machine gun for their secondaries, but primarily I think that's a decent setup, but only if you're going to be going after a lot of infantry. If you're going to go to vehicle combat, this is the way to go. And check this out, direct hit, didn't take him out, and totally separate chopper who's also coming at me, direct hit, didn't take him out. So one hits to choppers don't happen all the time, which I think is a little bit bizarre when you're hitting them with a tank shell, but I don't know what else you can say there. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I think a tank shell to a chopper should be a one-hit kill at all times, but again, I'm not DICE, so what are you going to do? Anyway, going back to the light machine gun, heavy machine gun debate versus having a shell as your secondary, personally, in my encounters, I find that I'm going up against armor a lot more often than I'm battling with infantry. And if you're going to have somebody gun in your tank, you do not need the light or heavy machine guns as your secondary. You would be much better served having the staff shell. And the staff shell acts like the MBT LOL launcher. So if you guys have used the MBT LOL launcher, you know you fire it at a tank or at a vehicle and it elevates above it, and check this shit out. Get out of my face, jet. I just took that jet out with a tank, dude. That's really rare. But anyway, back to the discussion. The Sabat shell and as the primary and the staff shell as the secondary. That staff shell acts as the MBT LOL missile does. So when you fire it at a tank or another vehicle from far away, it kind of elevates above it and hits that critical hit on top. And if the other thing you'll notice is I get 5 of those. So the most OP, up in your face vehicle versus vehicle setup for this tank is the Sabat shell and the staff shell, and then running autoloader as your upgrade. So a lot of people will run what's it called, maintenance or reactive armor. A lot of people like reactive armor, but you know what, I can take your reactive armor away with one shot. If I got 10 shells and autoloader, which means I can shoot those shells quicker, I'm gonna take you out before you even get me to 50% health. You watch the rest of this, throughout the rest of this video, how many head-to-head vehicle interactions I get into, and you can count on one hand the number of times somebody takes me below 75 health before I destroy them. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So I highly recommend the setup, and you can still take out infantry with the staff shell. It's a lot harder. The staff shell shoots directly at them right out of the center of the crosshairs and does not have any drop. You can fire it, from what I've noticed, you can fire it at a pretty long range and it does not drop. It's not like the main battle tank shells. It just kind of goes straight at them. So if you can hit them dead on with it, you'll get the kill, or kind of get some explosive debris going right around them, you'll get the kill. But again, if you're going to run with somebody, have that person run, say, proximity scan and whatever, autoloader or whatever it is for the gunner, so that they can keep firing, and then you just run the double shell scenario. So right here I call this the expert tank setup. So watch this. This guy's got me. He's got me from behind. I pillar at this concrete, and watch how quickly I take him out with this double setup. Look how I'm rapid firing, dude. This guy's done, and I'm at 78 health. He got one shot off on me, and I hit him, what, 6 times? That you just can't beat that. I can tell you that on one hand the number of times I've lost a tank battle, because you just don't lose tank battles. I most often lose to 4 or 5 infantry guys all shooting launchers at me, which, even if you have the lighter heavy machine gun with you, you're not going to be able to take them out 9 times out of 10, because they're going to hide and sneak behind trees. And right here you get a really good glimpse of what that see what that shell does. It kind of whipped up above them and dropped down on them. That's the staff shell in action. So again, those are my tanking tips. If you guys have ever watched Rival X Factor online on YouTube, he's one of the best tanking guys around you can watch. And the last tip I will give you guys is just don't abandon your tank. There's no reason to. You just should not abandon your tank, because shit like this can happen to you. If you don't have somebody to stay in it, then don't get out to repair it. Go down with your tank.